me just say it's always nice to win. Never take a win for granted, as we said in the locker room. Doesn't matter how pretty it is, how ugly it is, how close it is, how emotional it is. At the end of the day, it's a win, which is what we were trying to get. There were a lot of great individual performances out there tonight, and there were some guys I'm really proud of, the way they went out, the way they played, the way they competed. I think when you look at it defensively, I thought outside of the first drive of the game, our defense played a great football game. They played a great game. Really, the only points they gave up outside of the opening drive when we lost leverage on a screen pass was when we fumbled and they had about 15 yards offense and scored a touchdown. That was about the only points they scored in the second half. I thought it was a dominant performance by our defense. I thought they did a great job, and when you're involved in the offense, it's pretty easy to call plays when you know you have a defense like that behind you and you got a lead. I thought some guys did some great things on defense. Offensively, it was a workman's type victory, having the lead in the second half. We ran the ball probably a little bit more than I would have liked to in that game. But I thought, they put everybody on the line of scrimmage, and you don't want to just throw the ball and give them back the ball, so you're running it, which made it a little bit boring from an offensive standpoint with everybody up there. But I thought they competed hard. But this was a game that Jeff Driscoll's a stud. I mean, that young man, I've only been around him for 6 months, but I hadn't found his weakness yet. I mean, he may be as poised of a player that I've ever had the opportunity to be around on game day. He would come off the field after a long drive, just as poised. And, well, Coach, the safety came down here. And then that guy went, it's like we're talking in a film room. He's seeing the whole field. He can run. He's athletic. His touchdown run, he checked to it. And I said, "What'd you see?" And he said, "The safety was way over. There was nobody over there." So I just checked to it because I knew I was pulling it. I mean, he's seeing the field. He's really taking control, and really proud of the way that he played. And then the special teams got a little bit special tonight. For the first time so far this season, we blocked a punt. Did some good things on the kickoff coverage, but I did not think we did a very good job of kicking the ball off, obviously kicking the ball out of bounds. Them starting in midfield and punting, we got to be able to directional punt, and we got to clean that up a little bit. But like I said, there's a lot of things that I could nitpick at. Probably the disappointment that I had was the personal fouls. The personal fouls has not been characteristic as a football team. We're averaging about 4 or 5 penalties a game. We came into this tonight. We ended up with, I believe it was 8 penalties for 70 yards. I think we're averaging 40 yards a game in penalties. And some of the plays afterwards I could probably deal with, but it's the personal fouls that have to stop. That's something that this university is too classy for us to go out and not maintain our composure, especially in a game you're winning 43-7, I believe it was at the time, with some of those. And it's like, when you're winning like that, let's not stoop to that level. Let's take the high road and let's just go play the football game. Let's watch the clock hit 00, come celebrate it, and get ready to get into conference play next week. So really proud of this team, proud of what they were able to do, to go out there and take care of business with a win, with a 43-14 win this year and a 48-20 win last year. You know what? It's nice to win against an in-state foe and kind of show, I know with them not on the docket for a while, it's kind of good to show the dominance in 2 football games on the field. We can talk about it all we want off the field, but you still got to put on your cleats, you got to put them in the ground, you got to go play the game. And I was proud of the way our team played and competed tonight. What questions could I answer?
How do you think the team played, considering you came in as a big favorite? Some that thought ULL was going to come in and after last year and be fired up, and they did. On the first possession, they had to come back and answer with 37 points.
Yeah, and we talked about just weathering the storm, that they were going to have a bee in their bonnet, and they were talking about playing with a chip on their shoulder and coming up and getting embarrassed last year, and how they were going to come out and what they were going to do. And I told the team, let's just weather it. They're going to come out, and they're going to come out swinging. It's like round 1, and they're going to come out in a flurry, just swinging. Let's just take a step back, take a deep breath. It's a 60-minute game. Let's weather the storm, and we're going to be fine. We're the better football team if we go play our game for 60 minutes. And Nobody panicked. Nobody flinched. Nobody was, yelling, screaming, hollering, or cussing anybody on the sideline. AB knew what he had to do. A couple of the guys knew what they had to do, and it's like, Coach, that's me. I went inside. I got to make sure I contain. So it was never a panic mode whatsoever. It was just, let's go take care of business. That's one of the things I love about this team is the blue-collar work ethic that they have.
What happened on KD's second personal foul and what he missed the first half of the UTSA game?
And what happened was the offsetting penalty call. I mean, the guy was grabbing Kenneth's helmet and pulling him down on the ground, and then Kenneth kind of pushed on him to get up. And they called it on both sides. I mean, and Kenneth was wrong. You know what I mean? That's one of those ones. Let it call it on them. And then we get the 15-yard penalty. The second one, when he scored the touchdown, he got excited, and he ended up throwing the ball down on the ground. They called it a spike and called it a 15-yard penalty. And you're talking about one of the all-time leading scorers in NCAA history. I mean, he's been there before. It's like toss the ball to the official and let's go to the next one. So the second answer to your question, the official on the field told me no, but I don't know the answer to that one with two personal fouls. I know if it's targeting, you miss that one and the next in the first half of the next one, but I don't know the answer to that question at this time. I'll deal with that when we get to it. I mean, we played without him in the fourth quarter, and I thought Jared did a nice job. Jared's a talented player, and when Jared and Blake Martin starting to get healthy again, and Dancy and Boston Scott, and kind of like, Carlos Henderson didn't play today. And everybody would have went, oh me, oh my, he's our fastest receiver, and they play all man, and he's not playing. Somebody's got to step up. And, Mighty Mite steps up and goes for 176 yards tonight, and Marcus Gaines, and everybody looks at it and says, oh, Carlos isn't going to play. Well, Marcus is on scholarship too, and he's worked hard, and he's worked for this opportunity. And when given the opportunity, somebody's going to step up. And I thought Marcus was a shining light about that tonight. I know Carlos was disappointed he couldn't go with his hamstring. He got treatment on it. He came out. He ran around during pregame. I think he's close, but like he said, I just can't open up, and I'm afraid if I open up, I'll pop it. It's just real sore and tight on me. So it's like, you know what? Then put your hat down and cheer for your teammates, and let's go play the game. And somebody's going to step up. And like I said, I thought Marcus Gaines did a great job. So we'll deal with that if that's what it is.
Marcus got a lot of reps this week because of Carlos's injury. How crucial was it with
what Marcus Gaines did tonight on the field is what he does every day at practice. I mean, really, you've been out there. I mean, the guy, he makes play after play after play, and we go against our defense and we throw deep balls. The guy finds a way. He's got a nose for the ball. He's a lot like Trent Taylor. You throw the ball up towards Trent Taylor, he can find a way to get under it. And I think Marcus does the same thing. He had the one-handed catch in the game here last year. He makes them on the field all the time. He made one. I've got one in my mind right now. He just made last week, or this last week of practice against our secondary on a deep ball. I mean, he's just been waiting his turn, and he's been patient, and he's got an unbelievable attitude, and he's an incredible team player, and he's never moaned and groaned or griped, or he's just waited his opportunity. He's played on special teams, and when he got it, he made the most of it. Really proud of what he was able to do tonight. Proud for him. He's earned that.
ULL took the run away, and it was obvious that that's what they were going to take away early on. Were you surprised with your success through the air that they didn't maybe try something else?
They came in and said they were going to stop Kenneth Dixon, which was pretty obvious. It's a shame. I think Jeff probably would have been pretty close to 100 if we wouldn't have had that holding call on the 2nd and 1 when he went for 50 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the flag kind of dropped about 20 yards behind them, but I didn't see it, so hard to say. But I think they came in, their ends were going to chase Kenneth, their linebackers were going to come up the middle of the field, they were going to plug the line of scrimmage, and they were going to play man. If I had that game to play over again, I probably would have gotten empty and thrown the ball about 70 times, and we'd be sitting here looking at about 700 yards right now. But it wasn't a stat game. It was a game you got the lead, you got to run it. I knew what they were doing. Very comfortable with Jeff in the pocket throwing the ball. I believe he only threw the ball about 10 times in the second half. Didn't throw it all that much and still threw for about 300 yards. And I think he's just got control of it right now. We got some receivers that are making some good plays for him and doing some good things, and he's not putting that ball in danger. So they just kept doing it. At that point, they started loading the box and kept coming, but they were behind. They had to make something happen. And I was content to run out the clock and take the win.
It's a weird ending to the first half. how did you see it from your point of view, them deciding to throw? I don't even know
Awesome
what to call
ending to
it.
the first half. Are you kidding me? It was an awesome ending to the first half. 10 seconds on the clock. I said to Blake Baker, I said they're going to take a knee. They ought to take a knee. I mean, there's 10 seconds to go. They won't do anything like that. And then he called base defense, told the guys to back up, and they threw the out. Games in past history and understand the significance of an in-state game. So really proud of this football team. Thank you all very much.